So good morning. I will try to show you the strategy we used from the needs we received to the selection of the keynotes. And so you see, I will talk this first, just a brief introduction of the working group of industrialization, objectives, the methodology we used for the selection, then who participate in this game, and some analysis that we have done to select the 5 keynotes, and at the end the expert group's constitution and the main objective, as already discussed this morning. So first, so what was the first aim of the working group of industrialization within NanoFuture? So the first is to establish. The first objective was to establish the complete value chain in the different sectors, and this will allow Europe to continue to lead in the production of nanomaterials, of nano-intermediates, nano-tools, and at the end nano-based product. You see on the right the value chain, the general value chain presented by Lux Research, in which you can see nanomaterials at the beginning, nano-intermediates in between, and then at the end nano-based products. Nano tools are around to cover all these things, and what we decide to do is to start from this and to produce a more complete value chain in order to keep to pass from modeling, material tools, metrology, components, assemblers, and end users. And this is a value chain which is valid for all the different part of the different value of different step of the value chain within nanotechnology. And so we did this also thanks to the help of other projects, in particular Nanocom and Minan 2.0. We use also their experience to do this job. And at the end, the starting point, as already presented before, was the collection of all the 50 needs from the ATPs. So the first step was to cluster them. And we decided to cluster them in first as a general level, so what we call first level cluster. And you see we identified modeling and knowledge, nano production, nano integration, nano-enabled surfaces, safe and sustainable, and smart properties. Then to go more deep in details, we decided to structure it at second level. And so then you can see in color, so the reference with the first level clustering. And this was the starting point. So we decided to collect then all these needs in an Excel sheet. And you see here the structure of the file. So you see here the first level clustering. Then you see here the second and the second level clustering. So here composite and, for instance, microscale. And then you see the ATPs needs here. And this was collected. It was a quite big file with all the 50 needs, with all the description of the need. And then what we did, we proposed to the community to answer to a questionnaire related to the lack or to the deficiencies within the value chain. So we built value chain here. And here you see an example of answers we got from some interviews. And we asked to rank from 1 to 5, which is, in its opinion, the lack in the value chain, in order to identify where we have to invest, where we have to work to fulfill the value chain. Okay, here just an overview of the answers we received. So most of them are industries, but also we have R&D involved, and also clusters and politicians also answering to this questionnaire. And at the end, what we have found. So here is the analysis. So we have a good homogeneous answer for all the different second level clustering. We have some peaks in nanomaterial cost, nanostructures and nanosurfaces, performances and manufacturing, and modeling and design, and naturally safety, environment, and regulation issues. So here is the complete picture of the results of the questionnaire. So you see here again all the different second level cluster, and you see the rank from 1 to 5 in the table, and in bold you can see the main deficiency in the value chain coming out from this questionnaire. And so what is good in this analysis, what was good in this analysis, that we have a standard deviation which is low. This means that there is a good agreement between the answers. So the answers we had, the numbers we have are reliable. Then we decide to select the 5 keynotes starting from 3 criteria. So the first was sum of votes. So we simply sum the vote in order to see the importance of the cluster. Then we consider also the average vote, which is naturally very important, and we also decide to include also the maximum vote to take into account some specific need. And you see in the table that there are, for instance, in some area there are deficiencies in the value chain which are really important in specific second level cluster topics. So just really briefly, this is our graph showing the 3 criteria we used. So the first was, as I said, sum of vote, and you see the rank. So you see all the results in the picture, and below in the table you see the rank. So we identified this nano micro scale manufacturing, nanomaterial cost, design and modeling, analytical techniques and regulation as the main, the first top 5 topics. Analyzing the average vote, you can see here the average is there are really small deviation from all the different second level cluster, but anyway we can identify the first 5, which are intrinsic properties for smart materials, nanostructures, surface manufacturing, surface performances, and nano and micro scale manufacturing. Using the third criteria, we can identify again the top 5 clusters, and you see again here the list. So I will not mention all of this, but what is important at the end is that we were able to identify from all the second level clustering, we were able to identify at the beginning 9 potential keynotes with the highest interest in terms of lag in the value chain. Then we did a job of reasset of these 9 to come to, and we try to merge some of the topics that are horizontal, that are common from different topics. And at the end, we have the 5 keynotes already mentioned, and this is a good structure, I think, because we have the first 2 that are related to the functional properties, so the study of functional properties of nanomaterials, nanostructures, composite, and surfaces. Then we have one which is related to the manufacturing of the first 2. And then at the end we have design, modeling and testing, and safety and sustainability, which are horizontal to the other 3. Okay, here just to mention that anyway, so this selection was able anyway to take into account all the needs from the ATP. So doing this with this game, we are not losing any of the 50 needs we had. Simply they are collected they are clustered, and so you see here in this table, in this picture, that we have, for instance, for nano-enabled surfaces, we have 5 ATPs needs embedded. Nanostructures and composite, again 5, nano and micro scale manufacturing 7, 8 in design, modeling and testing, and 6 for safety and sustainability. What we did further, we have understood, looking at the SRA, that there were many other potential needs that were not identified at the beginning, but they can be important, and so we had a look at the SRA of the 11 ATPs, and we identified from each of these, from most of them, you see here some new potential needs to be embedded, to be included in our study, and it was easy also for us to embed, and so to cluster these and to introduce them in the 5 keynotes. So at the end, we increased a little bit the number of needs to take into account really all the potential topics to be developed in the future. And now we are in the phase to constitute this group related to the keynote. The keynote is a working group, again, with embedded experts from the different platform and the different working groups in order to cover the objective of the keynote. And the main objective, the experts, what have the general, this is a general aim of the keynotes, so to identify the deficiencies in the value chain. And you see here a couple of examples, for instance. So for nano microscale manufacturing and also for nano-enabled surfaces, you see here another view of the questionnaire. But what is important within this keynotes group, we need to identify and we need to work, for instance, in this case, in this part, specific part of the value chain, in order to be able to arrive at the end with the product. And in particular, I take it just as example the keynote 3 in which I'm chairing. And the first step was to look at all the needs. So you see here again the title of the need. And we produced a table trying to see what are the expertise we need for this. And we identified 3 main clusters. So functional nanomaterials production with chemicals and physical routes and scale-up. Micro-manufacturing technologies, taking into account top-down and bottom-up approaches. And nanomaterials integration into objects and devices, so passive and active devices. And here includes all the deposition and all the technologies to build a final device. And doing this game again, we can fulfill, we can answer with all these 3 expertise, we can answer to all the needs. And then at the end you see here that all the needs are really well covered, and so we can start selecting experts within these three expertise, which can be naturally exploded in a more specific way. And then the next step, within the inventive session, what we have to do, we have to provide within this keynote, as example, we need to collect and to cluster the different needs in order to arrive to some example of a single value chain, because it's really focalized. Or in another way, we can include different again needs in a set of different value chains, depending on the application, depending on the technology, depending on the materials we are selecting. Okay, and this is the way we will work. Okay, just some conclusions. So we had the approval of the 5 keynotes. So we have these 5 toolbox in which we have to work. So nano-enabled surfaces, nanostructures and composite, nano microscale integration, design and modeling, and safe and sustainability. Then we extended a little bit the ATP's needs, introducing also some needs from the SRAs of the ATPs. And we identify, we are in the phase to identify the keynote leaders and the expert groups. And I presented this example of the nano microscale, which is the first in timeline to start. So we will have this meeting end of June to start as a trial to drive all the other keynote, which will be the inventive session is planned to be after summer. And with this, for me, I conclude. Okay, thanks for your attention.